His body felt exhausted. Truthfully, he could not move a single millimeter, but it was as if he had awakened from a long dream. With maximum effort he managed to open his eyes. His eyelids felt as heavy as rocks. Goku used his remaining energy to look around, while trying to process everything. Shortly after he realized he was back on his own planet. He was in his room. He wondered if the few memories he retained were just a crazy twisted dream. Goku thought to himself that his body was not responding. He decided he would just go back to sleep. He began to close his eyes, but before that could happen the doors to his room flew open. A feminine figure stood in the doorway. He wondered who it was. His eyes slowly adjusted to the light. He was able to make out 2 large pigtails. It was the usual hairstyle of his beloved wife. With the little strength he had left, Goku managed to speak. He said her name softly. Marcarita. The angel had not realized her beloved was awake until that moment. She rushed to his side and fell to her knees next to the bed. She told Goku he was finally awake. At that moment Marcarita began to shed tears. She held the right hand of the Saiyan tightly. She cried and confessed that she had been very worried about him. Goku spoke again with great effort. He asked if he had slept a lot. Marcarita confirmed he had slept for a long time, but she assured him it did not matter anymore. She promised everything would go back to how it was before. Their life would return to normal. She swore no one would ever interfere with their happiness again. Hearing this sent a chill through the body of Goku. Blurred images flooded his mind. He could not fully remember them, and simply believed they were part of a bad dream. Marcarita stood up and lay down beside him. She wrapped his head in her warm arms, and gently stroked his hair. She told him he must be very tired. She urged him to rest because his body had not yet recovered. Goku asked what he was recovering from. Marcarita noted that he seemed to have forgotten. She asked him to try to remember. She reminded him that seals had manipulated his mind and taken him away from her. Goku could not believe what he was hearing, but slowly those images returned. He remembered Marcarita crying while he kissed seals against his own will. The memories hit him all at once. He could not believe it. He asked himself what he had done. Goku moved his head with difficulty to look at Marcarita. She had tears in her eyes. He begged for her forgiveness. He swore he would never do those things of his own free will. Marcarita smiled warmly. She assured him she knew that better than anyone. She told him not to torment himself. She promised it was all in the past and they were together again. She vowed never to let anyone separate them this time. Goku admitted he could not remember everything. He asked what happened to Seals. He hesitated and asked if she had killed her. Marcarita smiled and denied killing her. She said she knew he would not want her to do that. She claimed that with the help of her father, Seals was locked away in a place she could never escape. Goku smiled and thanked her. He said he was certain she would do the right thing. He took her hands and kissed them tenderly. He announced that he was finally back. Marcarita closed her eyes and gave a sweet smile. Goku told her it felt like an eternity since he last saw that smile he loved so much. Marcarita agreed. She felt it had been a long time since she saw his eyes so full of life. Goku simply smiled at her. Marcarita could not be happier. She continued to stroke his head until he slowly fell back asleep. Marcarita thought to herself that he had finally returned. With great care she let go of Goku and slipped out of the room without making a sound. She decided he just needed to rest for now. Marcarita walked down a long corridor. She hummed a beautiful but melancholy melody. As she walked she arrived at the garden. It was filled with large beautiful red flowers. She had planted them herself because red was now her favorite color. She approached the flowers to take in their sweet aroma. It brought her a profound sense of peace. She continued walking until she reached a dark room. She tapped her staff lightly and illuminated the entire space. She smiled and expressed her immense happiness. Goku had finally awakened from that stupid spell. She declared he would be with her forever now. Marcarita picked up a very sharp knife. She offered a small smile and approached a table. She made a single chop and repeated the motion over and over. She was chopping vegetables to add excellent flavor to a meal she was preparing. She wanted to create a grand banquet for her husband. She knew he would have a ferocious appetite once he regained his energy. Hours passed. Goku woke up once again. He had much more energy this time. He was finally able to move more freely. He looked around trying to find his beautiful wife. He wondered where she was. He tried to stand up, but he still lacked the strength. He cursed softly. His body still hurt a lot. Suddenly the bedroom doors opened again. Marcarita entered the room. She was followed by a large floating table carrying the grand feast she had prepared herself. She told her love not to push himself so hard. Goku smiled and apologized. Marcarita assumed he must be starving. She tapped her staff on the floor. The floating table came to a stop right in front of his bed. The eyes of Goku sparkled as he looked at the food. Marcarita smiled and assured him it was all for him. Excitement made Goku try to reach the table, but the pain immediately returned. Marcarita scolded him slightly. She reminded him not to make sudden movements. Goku apologized again. Marcarita sighed and asked what she was going to do with him. A warm smile returned to her face. She began to feed Goku as if he were a small child. Goku insisted this was not necessary. Marcarita firmly disagreed. She stated he was still weak. She made it clear she would take care of him until he was fully recovered. Goku agreed. Marcarita helped feed him while they enjoyed spending time together. After some time Goku thanked her and said the meal was delicious. Marcarita blushed and said that made her very happy. She pulled Goku back into a warm embrace. Goku asked her how long he had been asleep. Marcarita revealed he had been out for about 8 Earth months. Goku was shocked by the amount of time. Marcarita explained that the effects of the magic seals used were incredibly strong. Breaking that spell had left his body severely damaged. Goku understood. He added that he was just happy he could be with her like this now. Marcarita squeezed him a little tighter and agreed. A few minutes later Goku drifted off to sleep again. Marcarita left the room. She began to hum that beautiful melody once more. She walked through the halls and headed up to the highest room in their castle. Once inside the dark room Marcarita sat in a chair near a window. She simply gazed out at the beautiful night sky surrounding them. She called it completely beautiful and perfect. She believed she had outdone herself. She was certain Goku would love the night sky she had created. Marcarita summoned her staff. It shifted into a much more sinister shape. A hologram materialized in the room. The projection started with a view of the garden. Then it zoomed out into the sky. It revealed they were living on a planet completely encased in an invisible barrier. But the most terrifying detail lay beyond it. A sweeping landscape of death and destruction surrounded them. This devastation was not contained to Universe 13. It had spread across every remaining universe in existence. Marcarita smiled and called it purely beautiful. Meanwhile, at the palace of Grand Zeno, the Grand Priest reported that the situation was getting worse. The universes were in complete chaos. The first Grand Zeno asked if they had any clues to her whereabouts. The Grand Priest stated she was nowhere to be found. The second Grand Zeno cursed and wondered where she was hiding. The first Grand Zeno decided this could not go on. He ordered the Grand Priest to summon all the gods and their angels. He commanded them to abandon their protection duties and focus entirely on finding her. The Grand Priest asked if they were absolutely sure. He warned this would leave the mortals at the mercy of those terrible monsters. The second Grand Zeno confirmed it was a direct order. The Grand Priest bowed and agreed. The Grand Priest left the throne room. He walked briskly while lost in deep thought. He lamented for his beloved daughter. She had suffered so much that she completely lost her mind. She was no longer the same person. She had become a deranged killer. He silently hoped Marcarita would come to her senses and fix what she had broken. Back in Universe 13, Marcarita walked at a relaxed pace while Goku continued to sleep. She thought to herself that time was running short. She only needed a couple more months to achieve her true goal. She only needed Goku. All other life forms were entirely unnecessary. She planned for even the gods to cease existing. Suddenly her staff began to sound an alarm. It caught her attention immediately. She realized their desperation had finally reached the Omni Kings. She smiled and told them to search all they wanted. She knew they would never be found. Back at the palace of Grand Zeno, the Grand Priest relayed the orders of the Omni Kings. The deities were instructed to search the darkest corners of the universes to find Marcarita. Whis protested that the mortals would be left completely defenseless. The Grand Priest admitted it was unfortunate for them, but he stressed that Marcarita was the top priority. If she remained free, the universes themselves could be destroyed. He warned that her mind was shattered, and she was incredibly dangerous. Vadis added that she was also terrifyingly strong. The Grand Priest warned Vadis not to be reckless like last time. He reminded her that Marcarita had nearly killed her. Vadis agreed and promised not to be overconfident. Whis pointed out that several months had passed. He assumed she had grown even stronger since she was a prodigy among angels. The Grand Priest gave the final command. He ordered the gods to find her and destroy her if necessary. The gods agreed in unison. They scattered in every direction to begin their search. Beerus flew alongside Whis. He asked his angel if Goku would be alright. The last time they saw the Saiyan he was still unconscious. Whis admitted he did not know. He assumed that if Goku was awake Marcarita had definitely kept him in the dark. Beerus shook his head. He could not believe such a good girl had turned into such a monster. Whis expressed deep regret. He stated they never should have let her deal with the seal situation alone. If they had helped her, this tragedy could have been avoided. Beerus mentioned a new concern. The monsters invading the universes had begun to evolve. He revealed that the last creature he fought forced him to use 60% of his power. Whis replied that this was exactly why they had to stop her. Whis and Beerus vanished into the void of space at top speed. In Universe 13, Marcarita knelt at the foot of the bed. A heavy blush coated her cheeks as she closely watched Goku wake up again. She noted that he had rested well. Goku agreed and said the nap felt great. Marcarita pointed out that he would be fully recovered soon. She asked what he planned to do after that. Goku admitted he was not sure. He guessed the most obvious choice was returning to work. Marcarita asked if he was serious. Goku nodded and asked if she had a problem with that. She said it was not exactly a problem. She climbed on top of Goku and wrapped her arms around him. A blush crept across the face of Goku. He asked her what was wrong. Marcarita blushed deeply. She confessed she wanted to make up for lost time. She wanted to spend time with him and have him all to herself. Goku understood. He told her that if his beloved wife wanted, that he would gladly agree. Goku hugged her back. This made Marcarita blush even harder. She whispered that he truly drove her crazy. Goku asked if she meant it. She promised he did more than he could ever imagine. Marcarita began to kiss Goku passionately. He simply let himself be carried away by the charms of his wife. She was not only incredibly beautiful, but also very flirtatious. She pulled back slightly. She told him he had no idea how much she desired him, but she promised to wait until he was completely healed. Goku noted that she had changed quite a bit. Marcarita asked if he really thought so. Goku pointed out she was much bolder now. Marcarita used a seductive tone and asked if that bothered him. Goku smiled and said he actually loved it. Marcarita promised there would be plenty of time for them after he healed. For now, she invited him to the dining room for another grand feast. Goku thanked her and admitted he was very hungry. Goku could barely walk. Marcarita helped him out of the room. He looked around in amazement at how much their planet had changed. He told her the world looked more beautiful than ever. He looked at his wife and praised her hard work. Marcarita giggled and thanked him while blushing. After enjoying the massive banquet, they walked out of the castle. They sat in a grassy meadow to look at the stars. Goku remarked that the sky was beautiful. He did not remember the nights on this planet being so breathtaking. Marcarita suggested he never had the time to appreciate the night like this before. Goku agreed she was right. Marcarita rested her head on his lap. He gently began to stroke her hair. Marcarita asked him to promise he would never leave her. Goku assured her he would not. He told her she was what he loved most in the entire world. She then asked what he would do if everyone hated her and wanted to get rid of her. Goku answered without hesitation. He promised to protect her with his life and kill everyone else if necessary. Marcarita could not help but blush. She snuggled closer to him. She whispered that he made her feel so incredibly safe. Suddenly, the eyes of Marcarita shot wide open. She quickly told Goku it was best for him to go rest. Goku was confused. He said he felt fine and wanted to spend more time with her. She insisted his health came first. She also claimed it was starting to get cold. Goku relented and agreed to do as she asked. Marcarita helped him back to his room. This time she was clearly in a hurry. Goku asked if she was alright, because she seemed acting strange. Marcarita quickly denied it. After leaving Goku in his room, Marcarita rushed out. She flew at blinding speed until she passed through the dome protecting their planet. She demanded to know what her sister was doing there. She asked how she had found her. Vadis looked serious. She told Marcarita she might be a genius, but she could never fool her older sister. Marcarita asked where the others were. She wondered if they were planning a sneak attack. Vadis promised she was completely alone. Marcarita sensed she was not lying. Vados pleaded with her sister to stop. She told Marcarita to look at what she had caused. Millions had died because of her. Vados begged her to wake up. She revealed they had even received orders to destroy her. Marcarita mocked the idea. She was amused that she was important enough for Grand Zeno to issue such an order. Vados begged her to drop everything and come home. She promised the punishment would not be as severe if she surrendered now. Marcarita asked if Vados really thought she would obey. Both angels vanished from sight. They exchanged blows at terrifying speeds. Vadis vowed to take her back no matter the cost. Marcarita dared her to try. Vadis appeared to dominate the fight, but something deeply unsettled her. Marcarita was taking heavy damage, yet she maintained a malevolent grin the entire time. Marcarita taunted her sister and asked if that was all she had. Vadis told her to think about everything she had done. She declared that Goku would be absolutely disappointed in her. Marcarita grew furious. She ordered Vadis to keep his name out of this. Vados yelled at her to understand the truth. She called Marcarita completely insane and warned she would end up killing Goku. Marcarita screamed at her to shut her mouth. A suffocating dark aura erupted from Marcarita. It filled Vadis with absolute dread. Vadis was horrified. She could not believe her sister was using that specific energy. Marcarita proudly confirmed it was dark energy. The ultimate weakness of the angels was now her weapon. Marcarita delivered a devastating blow to the stomach of Vadis. The older sister coughed up blood. Marcarita boasted that not even their dear father could stop her now. Vadis asked what she had done. She could not fathom how Marcarita had merged dark energy with her own. She asked if her sister understood what that meant. Marcarita claimed she knew better than anyone, but she assured Vados it would not be a problem. Marcarita forged a colossal sphere of energy and hurled it at Vados. The blast struck her directly and left her severely injured. Marcarita sarcastically expressed amazement that her little sister was still alive. Vadis weakly stated this monster was not her sister. The real Marcarita would never do something like this. Marcarita turned deadly serious and promised she absolutely would. Marcarita drove a blade of dark energy straight through the shoulder of Vadis. It caused immense agonizing pain. Marcarita ordered her to deliver a message to everyone. She warned them to stay out of her way. She suggested they surrender so their deaths would be painless. With one final crushing blow, Marcarita sent Vados flying into the void of space. Marcarita vowed to destroy everything. No one would ever interfere in her life again. A few days passed. Vadis was recovering at the palace of Grand Zeno. The Grand Priest tended to her wounds. Vados apologized to her father for going alone. He told her not to worry. The only thing that mattered was her safety. Vados admitted she still could not believe her sister was manipulating dark energy. Using that power was basically suicide for an angel. The Grand Priest confirmed she was right. He warned Vadis not to assume Marcarita had mastered it. In fact, he believed just using it against her had brought Marcarita to the brink of death. Vados argued that her sister looked perfectly calm after using it. The Grand Priest explained it was easy to put on a tough act. He assured Vados that Marcarita was now weaker than ever. Vadis declared it was time to strike. The Grand Priest said the order had been given the moment he found her floating in space, but the hiding spot of Marcarita was already gone by the time they arrived. Vadis realized she must have moved to a new location. She had no idea where her sister could be hiding now. The Grand Priest stated their focus must remain on stopping her. Although Grand Zeno had ordered her destruction, the Grand Priest could not allow it. He confessed he could not be cruel enough to kill his own daughter. Vadis understood completely. She did not want her sister to die either. Despite everything, she still held on to the belief that Marcarita could return to her old self. Meanwhile, somewhere across the 13 universes, night had fallen on the relocated planet. Goku was still resting and recovering. Deep inside a hidden room of the castle, Marcarita collapsed onto the floor. Small arcs of black lightning radiated from her body. The dark energy caused her agonizing pain. She gasped and admitted the power had affected her worse than she expected. She dragged herself across the floor toward a table. She grabbed a small vial and desperately drank its contents. She sighed and noted the medicine would calm the pain temporarily, but she was almost out of vials and her body was refusing to heal. She feared Goku would discover the truth if this continued. It was not time for him to know yet. The potion numbed the pain after a few minutes. Marcarita managed to stand up. She walked toward a heavy door. She opened it to reveal a pocket dimension she had constructed. She walked into the massive expanse. The super dragon balls floated silently in the center of the room. They were absorbing beams of energy from every direction. Marcarita smiled. She whispered that she was incredibly close. She would finally be able to use them, and they would be far more effective than before. Her ultimate wish was about to become reality. She left the dimension and followed her nightly routine. She headed to the highest tower in the castle to observe the universes. A massive grin spread across her face. She watched gods and mortals desperately fight against the demons she had unleashed. She had spread the monsters everywhere to inflict pure terror and despair upon every living creature in existence. She smiled through her lingering pain. She found the slaughter incredibly entertaining. She believed every ounce of suffering was worth it. She was certain her beloved Goku would understand and support her actions. After all, she was the most precious thing in his life. Meanwhile, Goku remained asleep. His body only needed a few more days to fully heal. But something happened that night that would change everything. Goku grew restless. He tossed and turned in his bed while trapped in a nightmare. In his dream, he looked around and asked what was happening. The landscape was terrifying. Death surrounded him. He witnessed the horrific suffering of countless beings he had never even seen before. Goku panicked. He demanded to know what was going on and where he was. Terrified by the carnage, Goku immediately tried to find Marcarita. He ran frantically through a world that looked like hell itself. Massive explosions tore through the blood-red sky. He cursed the nightmare. In the distance, he spotted an impossible sight. All the gods of destruction were fighting side by side against a massive army of monsters. Goku recognized Lord Beerus. He tried to reach them, but right before he got close they all dissolved into dark smoke. Goku stopped dead in his tracks. He could not understand what was happening. He yelled into the void. He demanded to know where he was, and where Marcarita had gone. He stumbled backward until he tripped over something. Goku looked down in sheer horror. The lifeless corpses of all the gods were scattered at his feet. In the distance he saw the Grand Priest and Grand Zeno fighting a mysterious figure. Goku could not recognize the entity because its face and body were hidden under a black cloak. Goku knew he had to help them. He transformed into his blue form and flew toward the battle at top speed. Suddenly a deafening explosion shattered the area. The lifeless body of the Grand Priest crashed to the ground near him. The two Omni Kings lay severely wounded in the rubble. With broken voices they told Goku he was the only one who could stop her. A violent gust of wind swept the tiny kings away. Goku was left completely alone. He watched the cloaked figure slowly approach him. Goku demanded the killer reveal their identity. The entity stepped right up to Goku and gently touched his cheek. The hood fell back. Marcarita smiled and declared she was finally finished. She promised nothing would ever separate them again. Goku stared in absolute horror. The monster destroying the multiverse was his beloved wife. He denied it furiously. He told himself it had to be a lie. Goku woke up gasping for air. His heart pounded rapidly in his chest. He clutched his head and asked himself what that vision was. He noticed a small wisp of pink energy drifting away from him before vanishing. He realized it was not just a simple dream. Meanwhile, at the palace of Grand Zeno, Vatis rested in her bed. A faint smile suddenly crossed her face. She whispered that he finally knew the truth. She silently begged Goku to save her sister. Back on the isolated planet, Marcarita sat quietly in her room. She stared at the black stains crawling up her arm. They were the physical toll of wielding the dark energy. She winced and cursed the pain. She tried using her healing magic on the dark marks, but it was completely useless. She panicked. She did not know how to hide them. She realized it would be a disaster if Goku saw them. Suddenly she heard her name. Goku stood in the doorway. The beautiful angel looked at him with a mix of shock and genuine fear. Goku sternly demanded to know what those marks were. Marcarita stammered nervously. She had no idea how to explain it. Goku firmly asked her to answer him. Marcarita found herself backed into a corner. She had absolutely nothing to say. The sudden arrival of the Saiyan had caught her completely off guard. Her entire master plan was now in terrible jeopardy. Will Marcarita be able to hide the dark truth from Goku? Or will the Saiyan finally realize the monster she has become? Find out in the next part.